there was too much noise made out of Virat going back and the team floundering and falling on the floor. And I think that sort of also told us that we must step up and show what we brought to the world. You know, it cannot. It is. Cricket is at the end of the day a team sport, and there are people inside the dressing room who have been warriors and maybe not spoken enough about in the outside, but there are enough out there, and we wanted to showcase that. And there was with that came responsibility and a lot of freedom as well.
I have Ajinkya and Ashwin here. Bandon mein tha dam on Voot Select. Please go and give it a lot of love. I wanted to know, when the new ball came out in Sydney, you had 40 plus overs to play. And here are you wanting to save that test. And you guys batted for 42 plus overs. I think it's quite superhuman as your fan. But you have to tell me what really was happening there, what were your discussions, your conversations, and how you managed to pull it off.
Firstly, massive credits to you for saying the numbers right. I do, because I had no idea there was 42 overs of the new ball that was there. But yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind immediately is, I mean, there's enough, even in the documentary I've shared about how the back pain was, how he's standing, how Vihari was injured. All these are now out there for public consumption. But the first thing that comes to my mind was Pat Cummins. You know, a lot of the times, you know, the speed gun, it shows Mitchell Starc bowling 150 and Pat Cummins bowling 143, 142 and all that. Let me tell you something, Pat Cummins is not 142, 143. He was bowling serious heat, and I think he was probably in the form of his life as well. I could still, you know, feel that ball that hit me first up when I went, and I was like just guarding to try and protect the stumps, can't go forward, my back wasn't really going down. And the ball pitched back of length and it started coming up, and literally like how it happens in some of the movies, no? So I was like, no, and just hit me. And I was like, I felt, wow, this is some serious stuff. And for the next 1 or 2 overs, he was bowling proper heat, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind when we speak about the Sydney Test. And obviously, what happened after that, and once I got a few blows, I had a DRS reprieve, and after that, I felt like we were in the channel and we were communicating really well, and something special was about to happen.
Arms, shoulders, chest, abdomen, how many hits did you count? You count your bruises after the game?
I didn't really, but the one episode that I would remember is us sharing the chest pad. I think even from the outside, it would have been really funny to watch. I don't know why we chose to share it. I didn't have a chest pad personally. A lot of times, I think even Jinx has told me, why don't you carry a chest pad? It's worth wearing. I somehow feel like, okay, I've never really felt the necessity of being hit or something, or I just feel very claustrophobic with a chest pad or something. I'm sure it's the case with many batters, but this was one occasion where I really want to go back and wear a chest pad. It was quite nasty and quite aggressive, and we kept sharing the chest pad. And we wanted to obviously take some time out of the game, which is very common for cricketers to do. So I was telling the umpire, anyway, Nathan Lyon's bowling from one end, so the substitute will come and take the pad away. You know, every time the substitute comes and goes, it's about 20 seconds, right? So they denied that, and we said, okay, we'll do this way. So every time, even if I was having the chest pad, they have to allow me the time to wear it on again. So that was probably the first line of thinking. And the moment the umpire intervened, I said, why do you intervene? I would do it anyway. So that's how it worked out. And yeah, looking back, it was quite funny, but it worked.
Ajinkya, I'm already such a massive fan. Now I love you even more because you told me you listened to me. So 112. 3 tests, 3 wins as captain. But you were so much under the pump. You know, people questioning your form and this and that. You've always been the strong, silent type. That 112 must have meant the world to you. Talk about that.
Even before 112, I was really confident about my own ability. And as I said before also, that I wasn't focusing on what people were talking about me, my form, my place in the team. For me, it was all about giving my best to my team, for my country, and just go out there and bat with freedom. Yes, 112 was really special. That's one of I think the best knock I have ever played in Test cricket. But I wasn't too worried about my own performance, what people were talking about me. It was all about giving my best. And one thing I was sure about, that my teammate, they were backing me completely as a captain and also as a batsman, and they always did that. So I'm really grateful for that. But yes, 112 was really, really special.
That was easily one of the best knocks I've seen.
Unbelievable.
Great.
And you know, in Sydney, another thing I want to talk to you about, Ash, is that Steve Smith was batting like a monster. I mean, that 131, then 81. Luckily, Jadeja got him run out in the first innings. You got an LBW decision against him. Not an easy guy to bowl against, you know. So, what were your tactics against Steve Smith?
So I thought the Sydney wicket was probably the best batting wicket of the series. And it was, I mean, generally when you go to Sydney over the years, there is some history, right? And only in India, sometimes you don't know which ground you end up at which time of the year, and you don't know how the wicket will behave. But in Australia, it's the same summer, these are the same venues, and all wickets behave like the same every time you go back there, unless they tend to leave a bit more spice in it. But at Sydney, before Sydney, we had him under the hook. Even at Sydney, I thought he was not getting away. There were a few chances here and there that were going. But Steve Smith being Steve Smith, the quality he has, the class that he has, I thought he brought the pedigree to the fore. All good batters do that, right? Like when they're up against it, they want to, turn it around. And it was a great duel again. But in the second innings, again, I thought the plans that we had made, we were very clear. My communication with Jinx was always clear. And one thing I enjoyed about the series was how he was able to keep me in my space, at the same time lend some calmness around it. It's very difficult to explain and coin it in terms of words. This is the best I can get to, because I would explain, I will share him, this is how I'm feeling. He will give me an entirely different idea and say, think about this, but if you trust this, keep going with it. So obviously, that sort of communication will, intrigue me a little bit more and, get the thought process going. And it was quality communication, there was zero pressure, and at the same time, we were enjoying our cricket.
For a Tamil Nadu boy who lives in Bombay, really, Gabba, Brisbane was amazing for me. Washington sunder, natarajan, plus that series had you hitting 100. So as a Mumbaiker and a Tamil Nadu boy, both I was really, really happy. But the fact that Natarajan, Washington, Shardul all took those 3 wickets, Siraj 5 for 73, these youngsters, just believing in them, what are the conversations that you and the coach had with them to give them that extra thing? Did you just say, go and do your thing, or did you map out a strategy for them?
Not really. I think the communication was, as Ashwin said, communication was completely clear from management and from my side also. Just go out there and play with freedom. The way, especially for Natarajan and Washington, it was completely new. Our message was clear that the way you are playing in domestic cricket, the way you know your cricket, just go out there and play. This is nothing different. It's an opportunity for you to do something special for your country. Just enjoy yourself. So it was loud and clear.
How do you decide when you have to push up Rishabh in the order and keep him back?
No, it was team's decision to send Rishabh at number 5 in particular situation. So I don't think there were many discussions about that. It was just I think it was instinctive.
It was more about putting in a left-hander there, rather than saying, okay, take the attack.
Yeah.
It hardly happens in cricket. It's not like you say, come on, go and take the attack, and somebody takes the attack on and they make 100. It never happens. The purpose of it was to try and disrupt the opposition by putting a left-hander in. And definitely there was proof that they were struggling to bowl at left-handers in that series.
And even though it was a 36 all out, you had 5 wickets there. You got 3 in the first and 2 in the second.
4 and 1.
Yeah, 4 and 1. Yeah, but it still must have devastated you. The feeling of 36. I mean, everybody's going to ask you that. But
honestly, it didn't. I don't know. Jinx also would say the same.
Yeah.
We were not devastated. We were shocked in the sense of saying, okay, how did that happen? It felt like somebody hit us, with 36. But we were very sure it's never going to happen again. Because we believed in the pedigree and the quality that we had inside the dressing room. We believed we could turn it around. And all said and done, right? I keep harping on the same fact that there was too much noise made out of Virat going back and the team floundering and falling on the floor. And I think that sort of also told us that we must step up and show what we've got to the world. Cricket is at the end of the day a team sport, and there are people inside the dressing room who have been warriors and maybe not spoken enough about in the outside, but there are enough out there, and we wanted to showcase that. And there was with that came responsibility and a lot of freedom as well.
Talking about his bowling, I know he's got many wickets, but I think that's the best I saw Ashwin bowling in that Australia series.
Also that 50 and 77 where Puji played Puji. I remember Justin Langer saying after the previous series, Pujara wore us down. Did you tell him to just beat Pujara and wear them down?
You don't need to tell Puji.
You can't tell him otherwise either.
So, but the way he batted was magnificent.
And also lots of injuries there, you know, the thumb, this, that.
He was struggling with his thumb. He was struggling with his finger.
Yeah.
Before that inning, but credit to him. I mean, he's done so many times for India, but particularly that series was something really special.
I think he doesn't get spoken about enough. The reason I say that is he does a very thankless job. He got one run on 53 balls at Wanderers on a really tough pitch where I think Jinx went and made a 40 or 50 in the second innings.
And here also 8 of 94 balls, but 8 was massive.
So when
the blows.
So it's not about that alone. It's about what people forget is it makes the job easier when you blunt the opposition attack. Even here, the Sydney test was a crucial factor in the Gabba test because it tore their bowlers down. They were tired and we had a fresher attack. So some of these things are very fine nuances, but somehow gets lost in the larger picture. I thought Puji, I always think he deserves a lot more credit than what he gets.
Neeraj Pandey is directed Wednesday Special 26. He's directed this documentary. How was it working with him? It must have been nice.
It was really nice. I mean, it was very smooth. Communication from him was really clear, and we really enjoyed working with him. Though we only spent 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours. But
the beauty was I think he brought everything out.
Yeah, it was really nice.
நீங்க வந்து தமிழ் மக்களுக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மெசேஜ் கொடுங்க, because people, I love your YouTube channel. I mean, you are more media savvy than all of us.
The next guest is here.
Next guest is here.
ये तो कब से कह रहा है?
किया ही नहीं है.
Not inviting your friend for it.
उसके बाद I have not done any of those PR sessions.
But தமிழ் மக்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் something you want to say. Just to Radio 1 Chennai, anything you want to say to them?
தமிழ் மக்களே எல்லாரும் தயவு செய்து வந்து வீட்ல வந்து டெஃபினட்டா வீட்லனா இந்த வீட்ல உங்க வீட்ல இல்ல இந்த வீட்ல
ஹவுஸ்.
ஓகே, இந்த வீட்ல ஜூன் 16th இருந்து இந்த டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி வெளில வருது. நாங்க ஒன்றும் ஆக்டர் கிடையாது, படமும் நடிக்கல, எங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சதை சொல்லியிருக்கோம். ஸோ டெஃபினட்டா ஸ்னிப்பட்ஸ் இருக்கும். உங்களுக்கு ஒருவேளை இவர் ஹிந்தியில பேசியிருப்பாரு, நான் இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேசியிருப்பேன், திட்டாதீங்க, தமிழ்ல சப்டைட்டில் கிடைக்கும். டெஃபினட்டா பார்த்து என்ஜாய் பண்ணுங்க. தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச்.
सब कुछ समझ में आया मुझे.
Thank you guys. Thank you.